So I'll keep it very briefly. So I think audience is mostly from the first year. Am I correct, Chirag?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So no worries. So I'll keep it very high level and brief, so that we can touch the base point only and not go down into deeps. So I'll try to cover the areas. Maybe you can then familiar with the names. I think most of you already knows about machine learning and whatever the main terminology that is there. So you guys mostly familiar with that. So keeping that in mind, I'll just touch some base point on that. Before that, I also like to mention that I like to keep this session interactive and not the thing that I only speak and you listen. But if some of the questions or some of the like discussion may happen, I expect audience to speak accordingly. Let me know if you uh, wanted to discuss some certain particular topic. So let's start with the like artificial intelligence. So I mean, whenever we speak about artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning, so this is kind of we're hearing from quite a hearing from last 4 to 5 years, maybe like mostly after 2014, 15, right? And because like we have so many of mobile phones and so good amount of like application platforms like computers and laptop which is having good computing speed, right? uh, but let me tell you, this particular term artificial intelligence was quite old. So it was like coined by John McCarthy in 1956. So at that particular time, this was already known. Like whatever the like algorithms and mathematics that we use in that, it was already known like before 50, 60 years earlier, right? Why sudden boom? Like why recently from 2014 or maybe 2010 upwards, we're hearing these names. So if you link artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, there is a one common thing, and that is called a data, right? Currently, we are producing so much data from our daily user device like handheld device like mobile phone and all. So we are producing so much data that data is something uh, available, and lots of features there, lots of things can be possible just because we have that particular data. But why we are producing so much data? Because we have that much computation power in our handheld device like laptop and mobile nowadays is putting so much amount of data, like whatever the apps that you use, it will generate a data for you accordingly, as per the individual basis, identify personal behavior and searches accordingly, right? But prior to that, it was not possible to have that amount of data because computation speed was not that much. You must have remember like what are the old NASA project that the moon landing project the NASA did. So the computer that they were used and RAM that they use, like that is like in KBs. Now like easily on our mobile phone, like we have RAM of like more than 8 GB or 4 GB. It's like regular, right? So we have so much of computation power now. So and based upon that, we are able to generate so much of data. So I mean, it is said that data is a new currency, but it is also said that data is a new oil, because like oil actually generate all the revenues and all the politics and the geopolitics across, right? But now it is also said that data is going to be a new oil. Okay. So to give a just a touch point, what is all about artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, I'll just going to give you some brief on that. So artificial intelligence is nothing but like very generic word. Anything that can be like easily done without using much human efforts is called artificial intelligence. Any small set of code that can reduce human efforts, it's artificial intelligence. It's very simple as like that. Okay. But in terms of like machine learning and deep learning, you can say that artificial intelligence is having is a main set, and within that there is a subset of machine learning, and within that there is a subset of deep learning. I'll let you know like what is machine learning and what is deep learning accordingly. So apology for that, my child is there. So just a second. Oh, sorry for that. So yeah, uh, if you see the timelines, 1950s, there is a word coined artificial intelligence. Then within after 80s and up to 2006, there is a machine learning, and from 2010 onwards, there is a deep learning, right? So to tell you about the whole set and subset, if you see this particular screen, artificial intelligence is a main set, and within that there is a machine learning, and then there is a deep learning. We'll discuss about like what is machine learning and what is deep learning. So as I mentioned earlier, like data is main thing, cause and we are producing so much of data. So data can be anything. It can be audio data, it can be like image data, it can be a video file, it can be a raw text file, anything. The good thing is like we can convert each and every data, whatever the type the data will be, into like vector format, so machine readable format. So that is a good thing. So whatever the data that you will be having, you can put it into any mathematical algorithms, because like at the end it is nothing but like vectors, like in the form of zeros to one, right? So that way doesn't matter like what kind of data is, like whether it is audio, video, image, right? So good thing is like this kind of machine learning or use cases can be used and apply for any kind of use cases. Like for example, if there is a video use case, audio related use case, so it is easy to apply. So what is machine learning? So in machine learning, let's say for example here, there is an image input, and this is car image, okay? And there's a lots of images so that we are feeding as a data to a particular machine learning. So based upon that image that we receive, we do some features extraction there. There is a separate method for that, and there is a classification. There is a, that means there is certain algorithms, mathematical algorithms apply on that, and based upon that we get output that whether that image is for car or not a car. So just a simple classification, you provide a simple input image of a car, and model will tell you, like machine learning approach will tell you that whether this image is for a car or not, like just a simple binary classification. Okay, so whatever the process that we'll be doing, so that is at the end producing one file. That file we call as a model. So later point of time in a conversation, I'll use that word model. Okay, so here what we are doing is like we are doing feature extraction and then certain algorithms. Okay, so in a deep learning, same things is mostly achieved through artificial neural networks. So what is artificial neural networks? I'll come to that point later. But using artificial neural networks, you can like you don't need to do feature extraction manually. Will make it happen internally. Okay, and at the end you will be getting results like whether the input image is for a car or not a car. So machine learning is mostly good for a limited data, for use cases like if there is a house in a particular area in a Mumbai, let's say, you want to predict the price of that particular house. So this is like depending upon the historical data, you can go and identify the data for the price for that particular house in a future date and time. That is good when you have limited data. But if the data grows exponentially, the machine learning model will not give you proper accuracy. In that case, there is need to have like some approach which can be good for large amount of data. So in that case, deep learning comes into the picture, because it just a set of neural networks, and you decide, and based upon that it will gives you the proper result. So when there is a lots of data and you need to work on that, the deep learning comes into picture. So that's why if you go back and you see, there's machine learning, and within that there's a deep learning accordingly, right? So deep learning is nothing but a subset of machine learning. So let's say what how the particular machine learning is then used. So as I mentioned, there is a data. So data can be anything. Either like you have data and you know what the data is, right? So you know all the data. Like if the data is in the form of rows and columns, so we call it as a table. And on a table there is a columns. And in machine learning, for a columns, we generally call as a feature, like required particular feature that can give a proper prediction. So we know the data. We know exactly which features are good, which is not, which is labeled, non-labeled. So for that, we know everything about data. So that is generally called as a supervised data. Okay. But there is a data as well sometimes which is important, but we don't know about whether that data is useful or not. There's a huge amount of data. That data may not be labeled. That we were not sure like whether data is good for classification or not. In that case, that data is called as unsupervised data. So this particular input as a data can be used in machine learning. They can be feed to the machine learning model, and we can do the use cases and prediction accordingly for that. So just remember that they will be in the two form mostly, supervised and unsupervised. Then there is a reinforcement. Reinforcement is like just to give a decision. Like if certain model has been trained and you are predicting something, whether the image is car or not a car, and let's say you have you have predicted that particular image wrongly. The image is for car, but you have predicted as a not a car. So you reward that particular prediction automatically. The next prediction it will remember it. So that is a going back to the loop and again training the model, and at the end you come to get the particular conclusion that at a certain point, okay, now this is a particular car. So rewarding system is there in a particular reinforcement. So that way, once you get a particular prediction, and if you found this prediction is wrong, you go back and train it accordingly. So whenever machine learning or deep learning or a model that I use, so we need to train that particular data. So there is a data, and you are using that data for a particular use case. You need to train that particular data. You need to train that particular algorithm accordingly, so that machine will understand. This is the data. This is the images of a car, and if this particular pattern comes in, then okay, this is a car. If this particular pattern doesn't find in the particular images, then this is not a car. So let me give you and show you some of the examples. Yeah, I forgot to mention like what is a neural network, right? Artificial neural network is like is referred or used mostly considering referring back to the biological neurons that we have. Like in our brains, the neuron is seen in this particular structure, right? Kind of like, and there is a nodes in dendrons and output terminals as well. Same ways in mathematics, mathematical representation, this is like we have input nodes, and at the end there is some particular activation function or maybe some processing, and at the end you will be receiving the output. So same is this is used in like it is just used just like a biological neurons in artificial neural networks. So if you see the common pattern, like how the particular neurons that is used for deep neural network, you can see this like there are particular input layers and there is certain layers, and at the end it is giving layer. So this may be seems complex right now for you, but with the certain examples, if you could see later, then you may understand. Don't go deep for now, but just keep in mind that this is how the structure for the neural network. Okay, so there is a lots of other algorithms, but if we talk about like specifically deep neural network or maybe deep learning, mostly this particular convolution neural networks is getting used if you want to classify certain particular images. This is called as convolution neural network. It can be also used in natural language processing, where there is a certain text and you need to identify whether that particular word is there in a text or not, depending on the context. I'll come to that particular later. So see this particular like explanation that is there in this particular image. You see, there are two kind of photos. One is for cat, one is for dog, and this is like artificial neural network, let's say, and we're fitting particular image one by one. At the end, this particular neural network classifying whether it is cat or dog. Okay, so this loop will continue. If the image is for cat and at the end I'm identifying it as a dog, then it is a wrongly identified, right? So it will go back, train again, and update their weights accordingly. And by the time it reaches to the conclusion that this is the actual cat, then it will save that particular weights accordingly, this particular pattern, it will save it accordingly. So this is nothing but calls a training, like identifying the correct weights, identifying the correct pattern for a particular image. This is nothing but a model training. Okay, so this is one of the example that is there in convolution neural network. You see, in a particular convolution neural networks, so every image is nothing but a set of matrix, right? And each pixel is then identified. I don't go deep into that. Maybe I'll share this file and you can go through later. But this is like generic layers, like there is certain hidden layers, input image, then according pixel by pixel getting read, and then the classification is made. So this is one of the example. CNN is like this kind of algorithm mostly using getting used nowadays. If you see the in Facebook, there is a automatic tagging, right? So they actually use CNN there. Even like if you see the Google Photos, have you and most of you have must have like Google Photos app, right? If you're using Android. So you'll see that this is like so much easy in terms of searching your own images or searching your friends or any particular relatives images in a Google Photos. Because at the end they are like tagging your face or identifying your doing like whether this image is for you or your friends or your parents, right? So at the end, in the background, they are just applying CNN. So this is one of the examples. Even like in a Pinterest, the home feed personalization, they are using CNN there. So this is one of the like widely discussed and one of the widely used neural networks. That is a convolution neural networks. Okay. So there's a many other particular neural network as well, recursive neural networks. There is a general adversarial neural networks as well. We call it as a GAN. If you see this particular image, so this is a particular like horse, and it is then converted into zebra, right? So this can be done through GAN. So this is one of the example of deep learning as well. There's a one more example that is mostly used in natural language processing. So natural language processing deals with text engineering. So what are the texts that you have? You may have text from your email, you may have text generated from your mobile devices, or there's certain application form that you are going to feed. So you generate at the end text, right? So there is a lots of use cases that can be lots of use cases on a text. One of the example here is like identifying the sentiment. So if you see this particular example, whatever that is the green, it is positive. If the sentence is having some brash or harsh word, then the colors is getting changed accordingly. You see, so that is one of the example that is used in natural language processing. There's a one more thing in natural language processing that is called named entity recognition, NER. So let's say you have a passport, and on a passport you have image, you have date of birth, you have your address, you have like your gender information, phone number, any kind of information. But and you have that photo of your passport. So just to show photo through some individual or human, it is easy to identify. Okay, he can read and identify. Okay, that is your date of birth, that is your name, and that is your like other information. But how computer will identify those particular information, right? So there is a use case where one can apply natural language processing, obviously doing OCR as well. And through natural language processing, you will get a raw text and you will identify each and every like particular word, whether it is what is the date of birth, what is the like address, and what is the name of that particular person. So that is automatic. And now like let's say like there is a queues of like 100 of such individuals like standing in an airport, and one individual it's like identifying those information. So it will be time consuming, right? But if there is a particular system which will doing that automatically, and at the back in the back end NLP is running, so it will be like fraction of second. So how the time will be saved, right? And nowadays these kind of use cases are getting used in most of the banking sector. So in banks, like most of the work is going to do in documentation format, right? You either have document in a PDF format or image format, right? but at the end you are filling some form, whether it is PDF or something like that, and there is a team of thousands of people who is sitting just doing manual work. That can be reduced, that can be automated using natural language processing, like identifying entity from each and every document, and that is automated. So if you see the tech stack and libraries available for deep learning or any particular machine learning. So if you see, this is the 2018 data. Nowadays there is lots of, but these are the most widely getting used libraries. But let me tell you that everything mostly is currently doing in Python. So Python is Python programming language that is having a wide community nowadays. And so it is easy to implement machine learning or deep learning model in Python. And you get lots of help, lots of tutorial, everything that is on internet. You can get a help or maybe learn or build a model on your own. So most of the familiar libraries nowadays, you can see TensorFlow, that is from Google. Keras is very old, that is for the deep learning. PyTorch, Cafe, and but if you see the graph, TensorFlow is getting very widely used. Okay, this is fast AI as well. This is like 3 years old data, but nowadays this will be like fast AI is having quite a good number of users. So these are the common libraries that can be used if you want to implement something in deep learning or machine learning. For machine learning, there is a library called scikit-learn, SCI KIT scikit-learn, and they have very good amount of documentation as well. So do you have any question for up till now, or should I show some examples again? Anyone, any questions up till now? Let me know if there is any questions. Okay, no worries. So let me show you some of the examples. Let me show you these particular RoboFlow examples. Okay. So okay, let me show you this particular. And let me show you one more. Okay, let's see this first. You see this particular object detection. So this is one of the example where object detection is used. That is one of the examples for deep learning. And you see this is a simple image, and in an image it is detecting whether this vehicle is car, truck, or accordingly. Okay, this is one more example where like model has been automatically identifying and whether the object that is there in image or a video is shark, fish, or not. Let me zoom in. You able to see this?
Yes. Yes, yes, sir, we can see this.
So how this is getting achieved? Like, what do you think, guys? How this is built, and what can be the other use cases that can be there? I'll give you one example. You must everyone is known about, like, you're familiar with the Big Bazaar or DMart, right? You're going there, you're seeing like lots of products. There is a section of lots of product, and you go see manually. It is very easy, like, to understand, like, for a human to, okay, what that particular product is for, or where the particular product located in which particular corner. It is very easy for a particular human. But how that computer will identify that? If there is a particular CCTV camera there, then how that camera, the photo, the feed that is recorded, how that will get to know, okay, this product is getting picked from that particular section, and that product is nothing but like some biscuit or some other particular product, or maybe surf. if the person has picked surf or biscuit, how that camera will identify that. Or if I say that this example that you are seeing, let's say there is a camera and one of the scuba divers is there in, and he might not familiar with whether the fish is shark or regular fish. There could be use case like some camera automatically judge and alert him, okay, this is the actually shark, better get away from this particular. So this is achieved using object detection. And I just mentioned like there is a CNN convolution neural network. So under the hood, convolution neural networks is there. There's a many databases nowadays. There is a many inbuilt models that is from Google, ResNet. There's a many inbuilt model trained on like huge amount of images. Coco, Microsoft Coco is one database where they have trained such particular on like thousands and millions of images, and they can identify whether within that particular image if the person is there or not, or if the chair is there or not. So they are doing object detection, but under the hood it is nothing but a convolution neural network. So here, if the particular vehicle is traveling, and let's say there is a thief is going a number plate of that, it is also good of use cases to just track the number plate, because at the end it is nothing but the image, and at the end it is nothing but just like numbers. There will be certain vectors, right? So for a machine learning or deep learning model, they're just dealing with number, but assume and like visualize how the number of use cases there could be which can be implemented. So this is the scale and accuracy that we can come up with a particular use case. Thing is like there's a huge amount of data. Every day you are producing so many images, so many videos from your mobile devices, right? Someone sitting there in Facebook, Google, or any particular, they're using your data and they're just producing some good application like Google Photos. You can do on your own as well. So this is a couple of use cases. Let me tell you one more use case. Uh, okay, so this is called Spacey. Spacey is Python library that is also built upon convolution neural network, and that is mainly used for natural language processing. Okay, so that means it is dealing with the text. Okay, so let's say you have this particular sentence, like Apple is looking at buying UK startup for $1 billion. Okay, now in this particular sentence, one can easily identify that okay, Apple is a company. Okay, is some geopolitical entities, maybe a country or maybe geography. 1 billion is a currency. It is easy for a human because they know everything, right? But how difficult is for the computer to get to know that Apple is a company and not a fruit? So in this particular context, Apple is not a fruit, it is a company, right? So using machine learning or deep learning or using this particular library, you can easily identify, okay, Apple is nothing but a proposition. And if it is like uh, any organization or a fruit, or like dollar is nothing but a currency. So that way. So you can deal with a multiple use cases here. There is a multiple word. So you can play around for the text related use case. So this is one good library if you would like to use it. Okay, up till now, is there any question for me?
Yes, sir. There are 2-3 questions in the chat. First of all, a student has asked that still confused at how much mathematics will be required for learning ML.
Okay. So no, that is a good question. So obviously, mathematics is needed and mathematics is required, but not in terms of like you're doing all the mathematics on your own. There's a libraries available, but you need to aware about the concept, what is going under the hood, right? So you must have done like your 12th, right? In a 12th, you are done and you're studied about differential equation, partial differential equation, right? You must have learned about Jacobians or Hessians, right? This is everything is getting used here. So if you want to identify, drill down to the accuracy or identify the slope, you are using partial differential equation. If you are dealing with multiple parameters, you are dealing with Hessian. But at the end, you are dealing with a differential equation. So if you have your basic clears, or maybe you can tune your basic while learning machine learning. So I think it's nothing huge amount of mathematics required, because this particular all the algorithms been there in a paper, research paper from 60s and 70s. Okay, so not a, yeah, you know mathematics, you need to know mathematics and you need to know what is actually going on, because at the end you need to identify accuracy. You need to know like what is the precision of particular model that you have trained. You need to know the recall value. You need to know that particular terminology, how that is identified, how accuracy is getting calculated. If the model is trained and it is giving some prediction, and let's say prediction is false, so how many false positives are there? So that kind of math uh, you have to calculate weighted F1 score, that you can say in the code in like for a particular mathematics. There is a libraries are there and you can easily use. But yeah, you need to know what is actually going on there. In machine learning or deep learning or a data science, whatever stream that you choose, you need to know statistic as well, because prediction is going parallel or hand to hand with a statistic, right? Because at then you are dealing with a large amount of data and you're identifying the required features from the data. So you need how the data is there, whether the data is properly scaled there or not, or the data is random data which is no longer required for the model. So basic statistic is required, and basic mathematics. If you are good in differential equations, or you are good in terms of like specific levels of math that is there, so I think it won't require that much in-depth knowledge. Any other question?
Yes, sir, there are some other questions also. I would request the first year guys, you can ask any question. You can also unmute yourself and ask
Yeah,
to sir.
please go ahead. Let's have it
Yeah.
more interactive. I mean, rather than to speak.
Yeah, more interactive. Guys, you can unmute and ask any question related to ML, data science, any question you have. So we have the next question. It's asking, sir, can you suggest from where can we learn about them, like about this ML?
Oh yeah,
If we are
that's really nice question. Really nice question. Because if you are like discussing about machine learning or deep learning, you need to know places where to visit and where to learn it from. Okay. So if you go back to bottom, there is a Kaggle. First thing is like just a Google for everything, for search and everything. For data scientists, there is a Kaggle. It is nothing but a Google. So if you go and check the Kaggle, just log in there and you see lots of uh, competitions as well as inbuilt code with many examples, well explained, theoretically well explained, and you can check their code as well. So let me give you the example for let's say for the Titanic, where the Titanic's use case. So if you go into code, there's a lots of other data scientists, they have work on that, and you can choose any particular uh, notebook, and if you see, they have explained it properly with the code. Okay, so I recommend use Kaggle. Apart from that, there is other forums like Analytics Vidya or Medium.com You can go there and reach as many article as possible. And you can also check YouTube channels. You can also go and visit TensorFlow. It's a Google library and they have very good amount of documentation. Okay. And this is like actually leading. This is widely getting used. This is one of the examples of identifying the handwritten word, whether that word is like a handwritten number, whether if someone has written something like 1 and model will predict it's 1 or not. So see, so they have code as well. Go visit TensorFlow. Second thing is like there is a lots of good courses on Udemy. So there is one of the course called Machine Learning A to Z, and Kirill Amringo is a data scientist. I guess he has that course there, and this is really good course for beginners. I think one can go and try that course as well. I think it's around 300 something, 400 rupees, and you will get a good amount of videos and any particular materials from there. So, and other thing is like learn on your own. One more good library that documentation that is there, I'll suggest is scikit-learn. If you go this particular website, and if you go, see these are there is a lots of examples are there. Okay, so this is classifying. What is this classifying? Part of faces, right? Whether it is nose, ear. You see, there's a code as well. You can also download the code. Thing is like there is a good user guide here. You can read and get your concept clear and try on your own. But before that, you need to brush up your skills on Python, Jupyter Notebook that is widely getting used. So these are the terminology might not familiar to other audience, but these are the mostly widely getting word like Jupyter Notebook is widely getting used in Python, and you can use write a code very easily there. So these are the couple of websites. I suggest to use YouTube as much as you can. There is a one good there is YouTuber called Bhavish Bhatt. He has very good amount of like playlists in terms of machine learning and the concepts. Or maybe you can go this particular website as well, RoboFlow blog. So they have most of the use cases, latest use cases, and also implementation covered there in their particular blog. Okay. I hope I answered your question, maybe.
So there's another question that what is the difference between ML and data science?
Okay. So data science is like if you say it's vast set, maybe a large community. Machine learning is a part of artificial intelligence, as I mentioned. In data science, you can use machine learning. Okay, so data science is nothing but dealing with and identifying the data analytics or doing some analytics over the data. You may have lots of data. You are identifying the best possible data for your particular use cases. For that, there is a data processing, data cleaning, data augmentation, and so many other stuff that actually gives you the clean data, and then that data can be used for the machine learning or maybe for the deep learning purpose. So data science is one particular stream where you can play with the data, doing data analytics, and you can implement machine learning algorithms for your particular use case. So data science actually deals with mostly data machine learning, and you can play with the data. So any data related particular use cases there, mostly data science is involved. I'll tell you one example. I was working with a UK company called EY, Ernst and Young. So this is like one of the popular in terms of like identifying the merger and acquisition of any particular company. So like big companies tends to acquire other company, right? Either they have a deal with them and they acquire, or either they merge with any particular company. So just like for example, Ambani brothers, they merge or like separated their organization accordingly, right? So EY was there, and they were there in a business to identify which particular company is going to get acquire or merge. Okay, so from last 50-60 years they have their like manual work, but now they wanted to do that automatically. So for that they wanted to develop machine learning or a data science model, right? So what we have done is like we have taken like past data from last 10 years. We done a machine learning with some data science on that, and we come up with a particular machine learning model, and we were then predicting the particular companies which is either going to get acquired or merge in future time, like let's say from 2019 to 2023, which company may get acquired or may get merge. So we are trying to predict that company. This is turned out to be a good business for the company. With manually, they were having accuracy around 15%. And they were spending like 50,000 around employees for that. And there's a cost involved as well. With particular machine learning model, it is giving a prediction with accuracy of 27%. That is actually good. And in a fraction of time. So this is one of the example of data science where you can deal with the data, identify the proper data, and you come up with the particular data points from the data which can be used for the machine learning model. I hope
Sir,
the question.
yes, sir, you made the answer quite good. Sir, can you answer another question that can you please suggest the ideal map for a beginner to pursue some good career opportunities in AI and ML?
Okay, so AI/ML, for that you first needs to be have good hands-on in Python if you are trying to pursue that particular stream as a career. So you need to be good in Python. You need to be good in terms of data understanding, uh, and you need to be good in some in terms of like some little mathematics on that. So in terms of career opportunities, if you hands-on on that particular, you can either choose like your academic stream, or either choose your career option specific to the machine learning engineer first, and then go accordingly for the data science, data analytics, and data scientist accordingly. So for a beginner, I must say first brush up with programming skills in terms of mathematics. You can visualize your data. You have lots of data, but how you can explain your data to your friends or colleagues or to whom you are working with. So good data insight is actually required. You are playing with the data. As I mentioned, data is going to be a next oil. Data is a oil. So why this is so? Because at the end, whatever we are doing in AI or ML or deep learning, we're actually going to work with the data there. So understanding about the data, understanding about the basic programming, understanding about the basic mathematics, that is what needs for the beginner. Then like there are lots of use cases. One can try that and get hands-on first, but you need to be get motivated. And to get motivated, you need to be try on your own, because you will lose after some time you will lose the particular interest, and you then think like why this is you are actually doing. So get motivated first, do something on hands-on, and these are the basic things like having some hands-on in Python, understanding about the data. That is what required. I mean, that is what I think.
So there's another question that someone has read on medium.com that R language is widely used in data science.
Yeah.
So sir, should we also learn R or Python is okay?
See, like before Python, R was widely used in data science, and R does have like community earlier, but there is a shift in paradigm actually. So R wasn't having that much good amount of community. If something is implemented in R, there was not good amount of chances that you will get some help, because community was quite of restrictive there. Python has obviously a huge amount of community. Community in the sense developers or the person that is working there in that particular language for data science, let's say. So you happen to fall in a particular issues, right? You need to get help from somewhere. So if the help is readily available, lots of libraries and everything is readily there, and most of the organization are in like using those particular Python instead of R, then like it is found that like last couple of years Python is mostly used than that of R. So it is mostly suggested if you are trying to get into machine learning or AI or data science, stick with the Python because you will easily get help. Compared to the R, it is quite a like challenge sometimes. So and nowadays even like there is a whatever the latest libraries that is in machine learning or maybe in deep learning or maybe libraries like TensorFlow, Keras, PyTorch, all are in Python. So Python is always a good choice for now.
Sir, another question is there that still ML jobs are less than software development jobs. So, sir, would it be good to continue doing ML as I have more interest in ML, but this fact fears me that there are less ML jobs than software development jobs.
I mean, I think I'm not the best person to comment on that because I'm not. But yeah, during our recruitment, or maybe let's say as a developer perspective, it's all depend like what interest and what things motivate you. If you think like ML is motivate you, if you think you say you will be good in machine learning or you can build a good machine learning, you go with machine learning. Doesn't like even if you go into software field, there is a n number of categories. Whether you work on web development, applicate like Windows application development, or you fall into quality assurance. So there is a n numbers of fields as well, right? But yeah, I suggest considering there is a good amount of use cases, and most of the use cases can be solved through machine learning, and a challenging use cases can be solved through machine learning and deep learning. Machine learning engineer or data scientist has a good job prospects. It's all depend like what motivate you or what likes you. If you like Python or simple Java programming, then better to go there.
Sir, you have mentioned that we need to be good in Python. So my doubt was which languages should we learn before starting Python? Somebody has asked this question.
Uh, always start with C, because C is even though C is very old, but or maybe but everything is nothing but a C. So having get a good concept or a good understanding about OOPS, like object oriented programming, get a good hold on C or C++, and once you or maybe like operating system, if you get to know good understanding about that or like intermediate level of understanding as well, you Python is like even without that you can try with the Python as well, because Python is very easy to implement your ideas, easy to learn as well, easy to implement. There is a no like very less boilerplate code. I mean boilerplate code in the sense like if you know C, for a C there is a particular syntax that necessarily be there, but in Python that can be within one liner of code. So that particular easiness is there in Python. So for that, I think just good understanding about object oriented programming concepts, it's I think good to start with Python. You can anyways and just download Python and get started with. Don't bother that okay I wanted to this to start with Python, I just wanted to be this. Don't worry, without that as well you can go into the Python and learn during the like that process. But since you're first year student mostly, if I presume, uh, you need to have good OOPS concept, and you can anyway start with the Python. I think Python is mostly nowadays in high school curriculum as well, I guess. So never late to start. You can start anytime.
Sir, should we start ML after doing DSA? There's a question.
DSA, can you please give me the what is
Data
mean?
structures and algorithms means.
Data structure. This is the basic thing. You need to have your understanding and everything clear first. So first get brush up clear on data structure. So everything is like wherever you go, like wherever use case that you choose, you happen to fall into the data structure concepts. So like uh, what is string or maybe like linked list. So you need to be that is a prerequisite. Data structure should be always first before machine learning.
So there's another question that I used Streamlit for deployment of ML model on web page, but I
Yeah.
find a lot of restriction on Streamlit. What can be its alternatives?
First of all, this is a very good question. whoever like has asked that question, that means he has already knows Streamlit. Streamlit is like new library where like one can easily deploy and produce demo level code or maybe even like production level code without having much knowledge about UI. With simple Python knowledge, one can produce the UI very fast, right? So Streamlit like one of the application. In terms of restriction and all that, Streamlit is quite new, and for a developer or maybe like community edition, which is a free edition, there are restrictions. Since it is new, they are still evolving and developing their particular use cases accordingly. But if you choose like paid version, there are most of the restriction you may not see there. So, but yeah, this is paid. But for the free version, currently there are restrictions and it is getting evolved.
So, sir, I think all of them have asked, resolved their queries.
Okay.
So, any ending message, sir, you would like to give to them?
Uh, I think like I presume that most of the audience are like first year, right? So this is your starting phase. So and you are still interested in machine learning. So I think this is good that you at least think about machine learning, or this is kind of like something very new happening here in this particular last couple of 4 or 5 years. If you purchase something on like Amazon or Flipkart, you will give suggestions. If you're going to get purchase some monitor, let's say, they will suggest keyboard, they will suggest mouse, right? How that is happening? There is machine learning going on in the back end, right? So think about that. Whatever the daily needs, daily particular use cases you see on your mobile, everywhere you will see artificial intelligence. So this is kind of things to be considered, right? So you are on a good track if you wanted to go ahead with the machine learning and AI, but and good career perspective as well. Uh, uh, Whatever the field that you choose, whether it's AI or non-AI, or ML or non-ML, be hands-on first on that. It will give you good career perspective. Theoretical information is not good, or that is not in academics. Try to go JASCON. Yeah, try to check that. Would consider AIML. So
Like to tell, Hemant sir has been associated
hands-on
with our
that you'll
club
be doing.
and a college from a very long time. He has been the speaker for our club also. And yes, I would also like to tell that sir was also the judge on hackathon also. Thank you, sir, for today also sparing your time for us.
Thank
We really
I mean,
enjoyed the
thank
session and hope we'll get such sessions more also in the
thank
future.
you.
Thank you.
I think it's good that I got a chance. Is good and you find it good as well.
Thank you, sir. We
Yes, sir. This was
learned a lot from pleasure to hear.
thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Leave the meet.